Hi everyone, this is Linda with lindasueplantsforyou. What you're looking at right now is a teardrop Pepperomia, and that's what the video is going to be about. I'm going to be repotting her. She was a victim of the thrips. I do believe we got it under control, but there still is a little bit of telltale signs that is making me a little worried. So what I did not do with this one, as I did with most of my other ones, is I didn't repot her. So today that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to give her another spray with my Captain Jack's dead bug spray. And then I'm going to put the bonide granules in the new soil. And hopefully that will do the trick. So let's get started. This plant is it's a succulent, for those of you that are not familiar with it, and it is, did I say already, it's a teardrop Pepperomia, and it's from they're found in tropical and subtropical regions, mostly in Central America. This plant likes to dry out between waterings. And when I say dry out, I don't mean to the point of the leaves are wrinkled and shriveled up, as you can see right here. This plant definitely does need water. I meant to do this the other day and I couldn't get at it, so I did not want to water it before I repotted it, because I want to make sure I get all this old soil off, and sometimes that'll cause it to stick. And because I can't go outside and hose it off, I don't want that down my drain. So that's my explanation. But normally you don't want to let it get quite that far. But having said that, most people kill peperomias because they overwater them. I have had, and I've got a number of different types of peperomias, and there are times when I think it must need water because I haven't watered it in 2 weeks. And when I'm in that frame of mind, I do have a moisture meter. I don't use it on a regular basis, but every once in a while I do have to use it. And the other time when I use it is I have a Pilea peperomioides, huge plant, and it's in a clay pot that's, I believe, way too deep for that plant. But it was dying because it needed to be repotted. It was the middle of winter, and I didn't have a choice. And my hubby had to go and find a pot for me, and he first brought one home that was way too big, but that's because I gave him the size. Then he had to go back and get another one, so I didn't have the heart to tell him that's still not right. But so that's why I use the moisture meter on that pot, because it's too deep to check with my fingers, and it's too heavy to lift it. Otherwise, that's pretty much I pretty much know when my plants need watering, and if I'm in doubt, I just pick it up, and I can tell by the weight of the plant. But again, in some instances, I will use a moisture meter, and they're very inexpensive. You can find them pretty much anywhere. I think the one I got was, my husband picked it up at either Lowe's or Home Depot, Menards, I think it was Menards, and it was $4 something. So they run between $4 and $10 in that price range. And for people who have problems knowing when to water and when not to water, they're a good tool to have. Okay, so let's move forward here. First thing I'm going to do is take her out of this substrate, and I don't know what it is. It just looks like cocoa coir to me, but I mean, it's some kind of peaty mixture. And it's also this had fallen off, and I just stuck it in the soil. And I'm going to stick it back in the soil and see if it does anything. Normally I would water it first before I do that, but things just didn't go the way I planned them, and that happens. The best laid plans sometimes don't work out the way we hope they will. I've got some dry roots on here that are not connected. And that's what happens when you let it dry out too far. So you really... Oh, see, now I can feel a little dampness down deep in there, so I think I might still be having a thrip problem here. I hope not. I really hope not. My husband and I were talking last night and came up with a comment that I really had to think about it. We were talking about potatoes, and the last bag of potatoes that he brought home, the night he brought them home, they were already green. So he had to take them back. And for those of you that don't know why, you should Google that. There is a, it starts with the S, I forget the name of the, it's like a poison. It's like an arsenic almost. It can be deadly for some people. Never ever eat potatoes that are supposed to be white that are turning green, because they develop a very bad substance that can make you very sick, and in some cases can kill you. So anyways, he took them back, and they gave us their money back with no issues. And when we were talking about that, he said, you know, didn't you say that thrips like food? And I said, well, what I remember in my research was that they do go after little, new vegetation and fruity vegetation. Now, whether that would include fresh vegetables and things, I don't know. But that got us both thinking, because, we know that we can bring in plant pests in from outside. They can be in our hair and our clothing. It can be in the plant that you bring in from outside from all summer. And then we got to talking about it and said, well, maybe some of the pests that we're dealing with in the plant world is coming in on our produce. So I researched that, and I found that, yeah, that could very well be. So that was a new one I hadn't thought about earlier, but just a little information for you there if you want to research it further. I just thought I'd bring it up. Okay, this is not doing this plant any good. I'm not happy with what's going on here. These are very fine roots, and as I'm trying to get the soil off, I'm losing roots. So my original plan is going to have to be abandoned. I'm going to have to plant this the way it is right now and hope for the best. And this is a pretty hardy plant, so I'm not too worried about it. But I am going to put her in a new pot, and I do want to, I need to get a saucer under her. I do want to put a little bit of sand in this one, because some plants that I have, when I add sand to them, mostly my succulents and my cacti and even my spider plants, they seem to do better when I add the sand. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to put a little, this is Leapfrog potting soil. Get it at Fleet and Farm. And, oh, you can get it online. You can get it all over. I'm going to put in a little bit of cocoa coir in this one. And for those of you that don't know, it just looks like that. And that I buy I buy it by the brick, and I only cut off about half to a third at a time, and then I let it expand, and then I keep it in my Ziploc baggie once it's dry. It's much, much cheaper than if you buy it in a bag already fluffy. In fact, it's a lot cheaper. And you can buy that at Walmart, carries that. They're bricks. They look like a brick. Okay, I'm adding a little bit of sand here. Not a whole lot. Just enough to break up the soil. And again, you know, we don't want the Pepperomia to sit in wet soil. And part of it is because they've got very fine roots that will rot very easily. Okay, I think we're good there. She likes temperatures, but like pretty much that are comfortable for us, which, you know, anywhere between 65 and 80. She's not fussy. She's not fussy on the temperatures. I know that some will say she really likes, she doesn't like bright light, but when I put her in my east window, she really took off. And that is a pretty bright light from the time the sun comes up until 12, 1 o'clock. It's almost direct sunlight, so I don't know. I would not suggest putting her in a south window. That sun is much hotter. But she seemed to be okay in the east window. That's when she really started to take off for me. And when I bought her, she was not doing well. It was not a good time of year, and she was struggling at the store. But she really took off. In fact, I've already taken 2 cuttings from her, one for my friend and one for my daughter. And she's still pretty full. And once I know I'm past this thrips issue, I'm just going to add a little water here to help hold this up. Once I know I'm done with the thrips for good, then I'm going to propagate her again for myself. Because I want her to get nice and full in the pot. If you can see what I'm doing here. And probably could have put her down a little further, but it's really almost too late now, so. I hope you guys are all doing okay. I know we've had some really crazy weather. And I know some of you have had to deal with tornadoes, and we haven't gotten to that point yet here in Wisconsin, but we have had some pretty high winds. Oh, I think I just broke a leaf. Oh boy. Okay, this is not working. She needs to go deeper. I am making quite the mess today. But we'll clean that up later. Yeah, she wasn't down far enough. So let's... I'm going to start over here. And that happens. A little more soil. Still really windy, and that's going to go on, I guess, till through the night, but then it's going to calm down. But at least the sun is out today. Oh, we've had several days of cloudy, rainy, cold, 30s, hovering around freezing. And that's the worst, because then you never know if you're going to have to deal with ice when you're driving. And nobody likes that. Okay, this is a pretty good consistency for this plant. We're going to try this again. And I'm going to cut this. Yeah. And the bad part about that weather we had was I had just treated all my begonias, or most of them, so they already had a little bit of shock to their system. And then we had no sunshine. So they are struggling, my friends, and I'm hoping they're going to be okay, but I was a little worried. I did lose a couple leaves because of it. It's always a good idea to watch your weather, your forecast, especially in this state, because if it's going to be cloudy and no sunshine for days on end, I do not repot plants unless it's absolutely necessary, nor would I treat them, because that causes enough issues. And you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to cut off, I don't know if you can see this, but at the very bottom here we've got some new sprouts coming. Maybe I can cut it with roots. That would be great, because the way it is right now, it's sitting on the soil, and they're going to rot if I just leave them. Now this, I'm pulling these apart, and they're coming apart very, very easily. I will always try that, and if that doesn't work, then I will cut it. I can feel a few of the roots breaking, and it's not good for the plant. It may not kill it, but it's not a good thing. And now that's as far as I got. Now it's a real struggle, so rather than put any more stress on the plant, I'm just going to cut it. Okay, now you can see these two right here, hopefully. Oh, well, that didn't help me because they're growing right out of the bottom of this main plant here. So, yeah. Oh. And they're so tiny. I know they'll probably root, but because I'm still treating them for thrips, I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to do that. I gotta think about this. Well, I guess we'll try. Let's see how it goes. Trying to get the Velcro tape around. Let's should have see what I'm doing here. I apologize. I get so involved in what I'm doing, I forget about the camera. I'm so sorry for that. Okay. You can see how this is growing out at the very bottom of the stem. There is no root system on these. So if I cut those off, I will have to hope and pray that they root, and I don't think that's a good thing to do, considering what I'm dealing with here. So I am just going to try to get those two leaves up as high as I can, and still get the roots of the other plant in the soil. And this is quite a feat. But we'll get it done. Okay. This is going to have to come off. And that's actually bigger than I need it to be. I'm going to cut that. This must not have been rooted properly to begin with, to have this situation here. And that happens. So, okay, let's try this again. There. That's better. Rest my arm a second. Oh, if these two babies were just a half an inch taller, they'd be okay. They'd be up over the rim of the pot. But we might still be able to make it work. And you all know what I mean, right? I mean, if you've got a leaf on a plant and it's laying on soil, it's going to rot. You can't. There's no getting around that. So I'm hoping I'll just have to keep a real close eye on her and make sure that when I water her too, that I don't knock that leaf back down in there. Because in order for this to be where it needs to be, it has to be this deep. So that's where my problem's coming in. But, go a little more on that side. Call it a day. Ooh, I can hear that wind howling. When we were watching the Weather Channel last night, we both just looked at each other and said we were so glad that we got those trees down when we did. If you're new to my channel and you didn't see that, there's a short video of my husband cutting down like 80-foot tall trees in one of those baskets that go up in the air. And he didn't do that for a living, so when he first said he was going to do that, I was against it. I said, absolutely not. But he did it, and the trees are down. Thank goodness, because every time we'd get this kind of windstorm, we were worried that that one tree was going to fall on our house, because it was only, I don't know, maybe 20 feet from the house. And it was huge. So, but it was a beautiful tree, and there was nothing wrong with it, and I did not want to cut it down for the longest time. So it just kept getting bigger and bigger, and then last year we had a tornado come through here, and I never was so scared in my life. So we just figured it was time to quit worrying about it and do something about it instead. And I'm so glad now that we did. I feel terrible for those people that have had to go through that. I can't even imagine being displaced from your home and losing, your belongings. And I know they're just things, but if you're like me and you're the family keeper of the keeper of the family, just the things that are passed down from generation, those things are not replaceable. And although, yes, we're grateful for our lives when we make it through something like that, you still have that heartbreak of what you've lost. So I feel bad for you if you're one of those people, or if you have a relative or a friend that has gone through that. Okay. All right, what do we think? How do you think? How does that look? I think she looks better too. Not hanging all down. So I'm going to treat her with my Captain Jacks, and I'm going to have to leave her sit in the sink for a while. So this will be it for me for this video. And I'm going to clean this. This was her cash pot or coal pot. I'm going to clean that out and put her back in there because she seemed to like it. And there we go. I'm going to put some granules on here, and then I'm going to give her another drink too. So I hope this has helped. For those of you that are new plant lovers or want to start a collection, Pepperomias are very, very easy plants to grow. They don't get super big. These get, I believe, about 12 inches, maybe 10 to 12, maybe even 14, but not real big. And I'm going to, like I said, as soon as I get through this strips thing, I want to cut these back and fill this pot so it's full. But this plant is an easy plant to grow. If just don't overwater it. If anything, underwater it. You can almost always fix an underwatered plant. You can almost never fix an overwatered plant. And I just say almost never because there are rare exceptions to that. But it's much easier if it's underwatered. So, okay. Well, I hope you all are looking forward to your weekend. We're going to have 60-degree weather, and I'm excited about that. I've got my great-grandson coming over. I'm going to sit out on the porch and watch him play and bring some joy to my life. So I hope you all have a great weekend. I think the first day of spring is this weekend, so enjoy it. Be happy, and we'll see you again. Bye now.